Just talk about how it felt to win that game against a program as big as Penn State.
I mean, it was big. You know, I've grown up in Alabama, so, you know, we've always watched the goal line stand and stuff on the highlight for games and stuff. So, I mean, playing a big game like that was exciting. You know, we've been preparing for them. And it was good to get out there and play in a big atmosphere and beat a big-time team like that with a lot of history.
How much is it going to affect the team having Ingram and Marcel Darius back this week?
I mean, anytime you add two players like that back to a team, you know, it's obviously going to be nothing but improve. But, you know, they're both tremendous players, and, you know, it's going to definitely help us. But, you know, I think you can tell even in their absence we have guys who are willing to step up. So, but at the same time, I mean, at the caliber of play that they bring, you know, it's going to be a big step up.
You walked on, right, here. How difficult is that to walk on and you're playing on a defense that's, you know, the #1 defense in the country?
Yes, sir. I mean, it was difficult. It's a lot of sacrifice and a lot of work that, you know, you don't get. You know, it's not really expected of you. You have to kind of motivate yourself, and it has to be kind of something that you really want, because it's, you know, there's not much, you know, other stuff helping. You know, you kind of have to, you know, pick and find your own way around and kind of work your way in. So it's definitely a struggle. But
Coach Saban talked about having a soft spot in his heart for walk-ons, so being one himself, and he said, you know, he loves the fact that, you know, that you have to be selfless and you have to work really hard and you have to be willing to do anything or whatever it takes to contribute.
Right. I mean, that's definitely true. You know, my role for the first 2 years was scout team, which, you know, that was fine. That's what, you know, they needed me to do. If that's what they need me to do this week or any time for the rest of my career, you know, that's what I'll do. It's just whatever the team needs me to do, that's what I'm willing to do. So.
There were so many questions about that secondary heading in just a few weeks ago. Where do you think you guys stand? Do you think you're starting to solidify things a little bit back there?
I mean, I think the first 2 games were definitely big, you know, getting us some experience and stuff, and, you know, getting some guys some real game, you know, game time experience. That's definitely big for myself as well as Trey and Lester and, you know, the rest of the guys and D. And, you know, it's been good, but, you know, we have a tough stretch coming up. You know, it's just 2 games in. We still have a lot to prove, and we got a long way to go. We have a lot of room for improvement.
How satisfying to get that interception and to really kind of make yourself feel part of that secondary?
Yeah, it felt good. I mean, you know, we all work. I mean, I wouldn't say it made me feel a part of the secondary, because, you know, I've been working all summer and all year, you know, next to, you know, Mark and, you know, Robert and all the rest of the guys. But I mean, it feels good to be able to contribute, you know, in a big way like that.
This game seems like a good challenge for you guys to kind of grow up as a secondary before you really get hammered, like with Arkansas going on the road. Just talk about that.
Right. I mean, you know, it's our first road game, so it'll definitely be a new test for everybody, something that not a lot of us have had experience with. And at this point, I haven't really seen much of Duke. All I know is they put up about 50 points. So, I mean, I think that in itself shows we have our work cut out for us this week.
You got a lot of attention the first week on special teams. Like, you made a lot of plays on kickoffs. And it looked like that's something you really enjoy doing, is playing special teams.
Yes, I mean, special teams and, you know, that area is a lot of just want to. You know, you can kind of cut out a lot of athletic ability in some ways and just kind of get after it, basically. And I think that's a really fun part of the game. And I definitely enjoy special teams in that area.
Do co-eds believe you when you tell them you play defensive back?
A lot of times people probably think I'm just a trainer walking around, but, you know, it doesn't bother me. It's not a big deal.
Do you think it helped you, your path as a walk-on, that you played at Hoover and you played with a lot of, you know, high-caliber athletes?
Yeah, I mean, I think it definitely helped in a lot of ways playing at a big school like that. I mean, as a matter of fact, this week, you know, Duke has a guy that I played with. You know, their starting center is Brian Morgan from Hoover that I know very well. So, you know, playing with guys like that definitely prepared me for, you know, the level of play that comes up at Alabama and the SEC and stuff. And not only that, but I mean, you know, we had a pretty in-depth defense at Hoover. So that was another thing that kind of helped coming to Coach Saban's defense, which is obviously pretty deep.
I know you guys are usually oblivious to everything else that's going on around you in the stadium, but their stadium only seats 33,000 people. Is that going to seem weird going to a stadium that small? I mean, you guys used to playing in front of over 100,000?
I think a better word would just be different. I mean, it definitely will not be the same as Bryant Denny, but that won't affect any way the way we play. You know, we're still going to be out to dominate our opponent, just like every week, like Coach Saban says. So.
Coach Saban got here, you know, it was Alabama had this thing where they had a reputation of playing down to the level of the competition. Since he's got here, you guys really don't do that. Talk about, you know, his approach and why that is, so why you guys are so effective in teams that on paper, you know, you're better than.
Well, you know, like Coach Saban, you know, kind of takes the whole paper thing out of it. You know, somebody asked me earlier, you know, is the practice schedule going to change this week because we're playing, you know, Duke and not Penn State or not San Jose State? Is it going to be different this week than it has anybody else? And you know, I can honestly tell them no. You know, it's the same every week for us. You know, we don't necessarily look at, you know, who we're playing and get too much into that. You know, we do the scouting report and, you know, take the proper measures to prepare for who we're playing. But besides that, it's X's and O's. It's what we're going to do. You know, we have to be effective at what we're doing. You know, we can't control what they do, so you know, we have to come out and, you know, Coach Saban's a big advocate of, you know, and Coach McElroy as well, is playing a complete 60-minute ball game. It's not about you know, having more points at the end. It's putting together a reputation and, you know, having that mentality of never quitting. So that's what we're more focused on these days.
On that note, you guys are used to playing in front of, you know, 100,000 fans, and I know when you go into a stadium, you're not paying attention to all that stuff. But it's just 33,000. Is that going to be just odd, different? It's almost like a high school stadium.
Yeah, you know, the 33,000 and 100, that's about 70,000 difference between ours and theirs. But I mean, like you said, it's not going to affect us. You know, we've got a mission at hand. You know, this is a business trip to us. You know, the external factors can't contribute to, you know, our success. So, you know, we're going to go out there and we're going to, you know, play like we should and, you know, try to put a 60-minute, you know, performance together.
Do you think it must drive defenses crazy? Because, you know, like defensive coordinators are playing you guys because just when they think they key on stopping one guy and somebody else comes up, you guys have really spread the ball out early in the season.
Right. You know, Coach Mack and McElroy, you know, have done a good job of, you know, spreading the ball around and, you know, and I got to give, you know, a tribute to everybody on our team too. You know, our O-line has given McElroy time back there to make his decisions, and he's good when you give him time. He's really good, and we've had a lot of receivers step up, and it's good, you know, to have guys like Gibson and Norwood and Kenny Bell and all these guys be able to play right behind the Jones, Mays, and Hanks crew. You know, it's very important that, you know, be able to have depth like that, and I think it's definitely, you know, been helped to our success so far.
How much does it help the team having Ingram and Marcel Darius out in terms of getting other guys' experience on the field?
You know, like you said, yeah, I mean, you got to roll with the punches. You know, this is, you know, it was, you know, devastating news when we found out about Mark and when we found out about Marcel and all that. But we had to keep rolling. You know, I've earned more. I mean, Marcel has earned so much respect from his teammates since he's been out. I mean, he tucked his pride away and was on the scout team, you know, all last week. I mean, preparing us for their defensive ends, and that's just something that, like, you know, somebody as skilled as Marcel, he didn't have to do that, but, you know, he put his selfishness away and he came and, you know, gave his teammates a look, and, you know, having Mark on that sideline, you know, it's been very big, and it's given a lot of people another opportunity to play, and you know, them supporting us has been very, you know, a big deal.
Did you ever have to block Marcel when he was on scout team?
Yeah, I did. It's not.
How brutal was that?
It's like playing a game on Tuesday and Wednesday. It's not. It's never fun to have to see that big old forearm down in front of you. So I'm glad that you know, his sentence is up, so he can come join us and get on the other side of the field.
I imagine his motor's going to be pretty geared up because this is the first game.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, the thing about it is, you know, Marcel's not going to be. He's not going to do anything but Marcel. He's going to go out there and he's got a great motor regardless. So you know, of course, you got to expect big things from somebody with as much potential and, you know, passion for the game as he has. But yeah, I'm excited. We're definitely excited to have him back, and I'm sure, you know, Dante and those guys behind those linebackers are happy to see him back too.
I think the way Coach put it was like Full Metal Jacket.
So
Full Metal Jacket is the way he described it for Marcel.
Yeah, I think yeah, that's probably right about it.
Did you ever follow Duke basketball much? Because there's two kinds of people. There's people who like Duke basketball, people who hate it.
There's Duke fans and Tar Heels fans.
Right. Where would you fall?
impartial fan. I like the Vince Carters and Michael Jordans of the world. So, but I think what they've been able to do basketball-wise is pretty impressive. Put together championship-type seasons year after year. So I'm glad we're playing. I play football. I don't know. I couldn't fare very well against the basketball team, but I think we got a better chance against the football team than with the basketball team.
Greg, you sense any kind of an emotional lift with Marcel and Mark coming back for you guys?
I think it'll help us out a lot. I think it's obviously fresh faces in the huddle. I think those guys are looking forward to getting back out there on the field and competing. I know it's been tough for them watching from the sidelines the last couple of weeks, and I know they're anxious to get back out there. So, an emotional lift, I'm not so sure, but I feel like having that added depth and that those obviously guys have a tremendous amount of talent. Having those guys back helps out a lot.
Greg, what was the biggest crowd you ever played in front of in high school?
The biggest crowd I played in front of a high school was 42,000. It was against Plano. It was the 4th round of the playoffs, and it was unbelievable. We were in Texas Stadium, and it was like 3/4 of the way full. It was pretty neat.
Well, that's going to be bigger than the crowd that's going to be there Saturday. I know you guys are oblivious to the surroundings. You're focused in, but is that going to be different? I mean.
Well, it'll be a little different. So one thing that people always kind of ask me, they said, does the crowd affect you? Well, I prefer to be in a bigger stadium because it allows less wind to come in. So I guess the new additions helped out a lot. There's been very little wind the last couple Saturdays, but it should be. I don't think it'll affect us very much. Obviously, the game's played on the field, and regardless of how big the surroundings are, you're still playing on a 52 1/3 by 120-yard field, and the game's going to be won and lost out there.
Did you follow Duke basketball much?
I actually was more of a North Carolina fan. In high school, I really followed North Carolina, and I really rooted for them. I actually took an official visit to North Carolina. And I was on the verge of going there at one point. So Duke was always a nice school. I obviously had a lot of respect for there. I had a good friend that went and ran cross country there, and I also had a good friend that went on a saxophone scholarship there. So I followed them, and not so much on basketball. I kind of rooted against them, but I definitely have a tremendous amount of respect for the program and Coach Krzyzewski.
Where you at in the league scholar?
Well, I applied. I didn't actually apply. I actually interviewed with the campus committee last week. It was a committee of 14 members. It was actually last Wednesday at 2 o'clock, so I had to miss a little bit of meetings. And I've been informed that I will be endorsed by the school, which is great news for me because that's one of the bigger hurdles that you have to clear. Because if you don't get endorsed by the school, then you're not actually technically allowed to apply for the roads. So now that the school's in my corner, I feel like it's really going to help me out a lot throughout the rest of the application process because I have so many more resources to reach out to and have people willing to help. So it was really a great feeling for me to get that email last week, and now that we've got another month to apply, so got to just edit the essay a little bit, and hopefully we should put together a pretty good application.
Last question.
Greg, I know you're probably your own worst critic, but after looking back at the game film from the Penn State week, what did you see that you thought that you did right and things that you can work on going into Duke?
Well, actually, I haven't actually had a chance to watch it yet, but I think just some of the things, just thinking back on the game itself, I think there were a couple chances that I should have just gotten it out of my hands a little bit quicker. A couple times to Julio. He was open on a couple hitch routes, and I tried to hold it for the dig in behind to Mays, and that happened to me, I think, twice. And those are the couple things I'd like to get the ball just a hair quicker. And I think we did well. I think we did well in our protections. We made a couple protection checks, which helped. And I think the running game and the spins and the run checks were good as well. So I feel good about where we stand right now. I'm always ready to make more improvements. So.
Thanks.